Okay. Welcome to Marcy's View. I am the underscore Marcy underscore Lynn on all social platforms. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course here. Please give some of my videos a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate the support. I am here today bringing you another how-to video. Um, don't mind my background. This is what I'm working with. At least there's no background noise from my son's TV or anything like that. And so this is where it's at. And one day I will have an upgraded background in a space for myself. But for now, I just wanted to bring y'all an important message that kind of hit me. So if you are in the North Jersey area, about 2 weeks ago, you may have woken up and walked outside and it felt like straight fall in August. And I know that for some people in conversation, everyone automatically started talking about feeling sad and down. And not just because the summer's gone, and for some folks are returning to work, returning to school. I worked all year round, so it didn't really matter on that side. But I know for some, that's kind of why. But for the most part, there are a lot of people that are impacted by seasonal depression. There are definitely like a spectrum of that. And so you could be diagnosed with SAD, which is a little more severe and consistent, or you can have seasonal depression symptoms. And so let's get into it. So, the definition, as per the Mayo Clinic online, if you looked it up, seasonal depression is a type of depression that's related to changes in seasons. So, it usually happens at the same times each year. And for the most part, they're in the fall and the winter months. And yeah, it's like a consistent 4 to 5 months. And so during that time, some of the symptoms that you may feel or experience are a decrease in energy, difficulty concentrating and making decisions. I know for me, like that's a big one, difficulty concentrating. I feel like my mood changes so much that I just start like overthinking everything, thinking about things of the past, thinking of things I could have done differently, and then it just makes it tough to focus on what is actually going on in the present at times. And so I've been very aware of that for myself. You could have changes in sleep. You could be more fatigued, or you could not be sleeping. Weight changes. So that is also kind of related to sleep. So, if you sleep less, you tend to hold on to more weight, is what they usually say. um or vice versa, you may not be eating, you may not be sleeping, so then you're dropping weight. And so being aware of that is always important. You could have physical pains, right? Neck pains, chest pains, even stomach issues. I read online. um and at the severest case, you could experience thoughts of death and suicide, and socially withdraw, right? And if you get to those, that point and you recognize it, you can certainly reach out. There are resources. The main one is calling 988. If you have a trusted person you call, if you have a therapist that you can call, certainly keep those handy as we transition into the fall months, especially if you're up here in Jersey. And so, yeah, I wanted to kind of bring attention to that because it does happen. I know we speak about it a lot. I mean, I am an advisor on a college campus, and so we can see it sometimes in our students. We may experience it ourselves as we transition from summer to fall, start of new semester, different things happening in life. All of those things can kind of come together, or, become more heavy as the seasons change. And so, more so, my video is like how to cope and how to prepare for seasonal depression. Light therapy is a big one and consistent, you'll see online. So that could mean you change your light bulbs to a brighter light bulb. It could mean working next to windows, right? So if you have the flexibility to work in an office space with windows, certainly go for that. If you need to go outside more, that is certainly the biggest recommendation, because not only do you get light therapy from that, but you also get vitamin D, which is great. um yeah, so those are like the main things. Like if you can get outside, I mean, I know for me, even during that week when we were feeling those fallish weather, degrees or temperatures, I should say. Going outside felt like amazing. Like I was outside for 5 minutes and just feeling the sun against my face just kind of uplifted my mood. So that's a big one that I noticed for myself. And this is early on. I mean, this is like end of August. I mean, now we're September 1st, but it kind of started feeling more so fallish a couple weeks ago. Um, Exercise is a big one. So trying to exercise at least 3 times a week for 30 minutes. Preferably if you can, exercise outside. For me, I've been sticking with inside, but I do like to spend my lunch times walking outside while the weather is still bearable anyways. So that's good to do. Exercise not only just helps with seasonal depression, but it also at any time of the year could help relieve stress, anxiety. It increases your dopamine levels, so it tends to increase your mood also. And also, exercise is just overall good for your health. I started working out back in May, I mentioned in my last video. And although the numbers can be discouraging, I just opted to do it for my overall health and well being more so than a number on a scale. And I feel good about myself just because I'm getting it done. So that's certainly something to consider. Your diet, right? Having a balanced diet, being more aware of what you're intaking. um they say to increase your vitamin D through what you ingest also, so those could be eating such things as like egg yolks. I saw salmon, like more fatty fish, even tuna was up there. I'm drinking OJ, milk, yogurt. If you can take dairy. Obviously, if you don't take dairy, they did list plant-based milks also are good in vitamin D. But the biggest one is like getting outside. Like nothing is gonna beat like the natural vitamin D that you could just get from spending time outside. And I'm telling you, even if you think that there is no sun behind those clouds, there is. I have proof because yesterday it was cloudy. And I was outside for a while and I have tan lines, like weird ones, because it wasn't as sunny, so I had more clothes on than I would on a typical summer day, and I definitely have tan lines. Even my watch tan line is way worse today. But it felt nice being outside. Like it was definitely a mood booster. Because being indoors, I can get very crabby. Mm. Um, oh, and if not, then you can consider, vitamin D as a supplement, like a vitamin, like an actual vitamin. Definitely you want to talk to your um, doctor about that if you're considering it, or even a pharmacist at a pharmacy can give you some information about that as well. But, trying to increase it that way, either through your food or going outside, are some great things that you can do. Having a sleep schedule, try to set one up. Try napping less and not oversleeping so much. So you want to set like a consistent time to go to bed. So I know for me, as we're shifting to the beginning of the school year, for the kids, I'm gonna be starting bedtime. Well, not probably starting bedtime at 9 because flag football is like 3 times a week. But on the days that it's not, it'll definitely be start the routine at 8, kids in bed by 8:30, and hopefully by 9, the two youngest ones are asleep. The oldest has a little more flexibility. I do try to have her off the phone and in bed by 10:30 the latest if we're pushing it. Just because we all need good sleep. All of us, me included, because I like to go to sleep knowing that my kids are all in bed and off devices. So, that is very important. So yeah, definitely trying to set a sleep schedule. I need to just revert back to mine, which is gonna be tough, but we're gonna get it done. Manage your stress levels. So recognizing what some of your triggers may be, and managing it, right? Like either stay away from those things or find yourself some meditations that you could do to kind of help you release some stress. I know I tend to feel all my stress in the back of my neck, which is horrible. It started my freshman year in college. And back then I wouldn't think of ways to like deep breathing, going out for a walk, anything that can kind of relax me. They like gave me painkillers back then, which I didn't really take because that just wasn't my thing ever. Taking pills, it's just ugh. It just makes you feel worse, I think, then. But anyways, yeah. So managing your stress, however that works for you. Exercise is also a big one for me, so definitely consider that. And to avoid social withdrawal, try your best to socialize. Schedule more like happy hours, meeting up on a Saturday for a coffee or a Sunday. and trying to connect with some of your friends and relatives and your circle of people that you like to be around that bring you joy, obviously not ones that increase your stress. If you can help it. So definitely consider that. I know that's a big one for me. Um, I don't tend to withdraw when I start feeling like seasonal depression symptoms. I tend to be like, okay, what do I need to do to get myself out of this funk? Because I feel it and I can feel it like dragging me down and I do not like it. So if I can escape for, at least once in the week or maybe once every 2 weeks with like friends or even my sister without the kids, definitely try to do that for myself. So I encourage you to do that. And that could mean anything, right? It doesn't have to be going out to eat. Then you could even just want to spend time with yourself. Take yourself out to a movie, a dinner, go get your nails done, whatever you find relaxing, and gets you out of like your own head, I guess I should say. But being around people, you know, that socialized aspect. And then another big one that's kind of circling back from my last video is journaling. So being very aware of the symptoms that you are feeling, how often you're feeling them, is it daily? What are you feeling? What are you doing about it? Being able to recognize all those are very key. Because if it does start feeling more severe and more consistent, it's definitely something that you'll want to speak to a specialist about, right? And that kind of brings me to my next point is when you're feeling these symptoms, it's okay to talk to them with your mental health therapist or professional if you're seeing one, or to seek one if you need to, support groups if they're out there for you. Utilizing benefits at work, right? Sometimes they have those employee assistance programs that you can take advantage of. So if you're feeling kind of crappy when the weather's changing, definitely consider looking into that if you have it, because it's free of charge usually, because it's already included in your medical benefits. Um, and then obviously seeking any assistance through your counties if you aren't able to, do it through your insurance or aren't able to afford it, and just seeing really what's out there. If it gets really severe, you may want to seek an official diagnosis. It that definitely has its own separate requirements that I won't go into in this video, just because I would really want to do more research on that and have them done. But there are, I think it has to be like a consistent 2 years. The symptoms have to be super severe, and it has to be diagnosed by a mental health specialist. So you definitely have to go speak to someone if you feel like it's something that happens definitely every year. Seasonal depression is not something that occurs to everyone every year. Sometimes you just feel the symptoms. Sometimes, not every time that it comes around. And so you may not need an official diagnosis, but still being aware of these coping mechanisms to prepare and handle it if you do start feeling some of those mood changes occur as we transition in seasons. And again, I just want to point out, if you are thinking of harming yourself or
So I didn't finish yesterday's video because I got cut off. But I wanted to capture the very important point that I was trying to say at the end, which was if you are feeling severe symptoms of seasonal depression, thoughts of harming yourself, thoughts of harming others, you should reach out to a mental health physician. There are crisis lines you can call, specifically 988. Sometimes if you call the police department, you can let them know it's a mental health crisis. They can reach out to mental health counselors if they have those type of programs set up in town. But I would definitely say first things first, 988, they'll point you in the right direction. And so to recap, seasonal depression can be felt at a very low end, and then there's also the more severe, which is diagnosed. It comes along when the season changes, usually fall or winter months. Um, it doesn't happen every single year to everyone, but if it does, it can be diagnosed as an official diagnosis by a mental health professional. Um, and then to go in line with that, ways to cope, light therapy, get outside, get some vitamin D, have a balanced diet, get a sleep schedule, a routine going for yourself, to kind of keep you on track. Manage your stress, socialize, set up some outings with some friends, and get outside. Um, Anything you can do while the weather is still bearable. Vitamin D is so critical. I'm just going to keep stressing that. Um, and yes, thank you so much for joining me. I will be bringing you more videos. Let me know in the comments if this was useful, if you experience seasonal depression, and what are some things you do to kind of cope. Thank you from watching. Hit that like, subscribe, follow me on all socials at the underscore Marcy underscore Lynn, and I'll see you guys next time.
Almost made it through the whole video without interruptions, but that's okay. Almost made it through the whole video with no interruptions, but that's okay. Motherhood for you.